in the Coast with our live video stream on coastsportstoday.com and the Coast Sports Today Facebook page, brought to you by Ulmer's Appliance for all of your appliance repair needs. You can give Ulmer's Appliance a call at 609-368-4444. And of course, we thank all of our great sponsors, the MudHen, for having us here. Our flagship sponsor, Crest Savings Bank, celebrating their 100th year. They have branches all over Cape May County, and we appreciate their support as well. And joining us now is the Cape May Tech boys basketball team. We thank the programs from Middle Township for coming in our first segment, and we have head coach Josh Mercado and a pair of seniors in Devin Roach. And we had to ask Devin to stand up because we didn't recognize him. We didn't see him. He's lost so much weight. He looks like a middleweight, Josh. Yeah. We'll go into your world. We'll go into your boxing world. He looks like a middleweight.
He looks good.
Devin Roach and James Longstreet are both here, so we appreciate you guys coming. And first, Josh, we'll ask you. You're about a week or so into practice. What are you seeing so far?
So far, we're very happy. We have a great group of seniors between Devin, James, Matt Carrion, and Robbie, who have been working very hard in the gym and have been leading by example. And we're super excited and can't wait for our first scrimmage on Wednesday versus Lower.
The one thing I want to ask you, because obviously this is a really big issue. Not issue. The issue makes it sound like it's bad, but it's a big factor in how you're going to do this year. You lost a 2,000-point score, so you're going to have to make those points up. Josh Wright is now playing at Olympus Prep. He's doing well there. Hopefully that catapults him to a 4-year college where we know he has the talent to play. And for you guys here at Cape May Tech, after a 14-13 season, a winning season, and you have to replace the first 2,000-point scorer in the school's history and Cape May County's all-time leading scorer. So, what's the challenge in that, and how are the kids reacting to that in practice so far?
Well, Josh Wright definitely was a very special player and probably a once-in-a-decade, type player. Maybe once in a lifetime. I might not ever coach a talent like him. But I think the boys are up for the challenge. I think they know, or I think they see the writing on the wall, and they have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because they want to prove to everybody that, our goal this year is the same as it was last year, and it was the same as it was 2 years ago, which is to win a playoff game, which our school has not been able to do yet. So James and Devin, who are sitting right beside me, it's very clear they want to win a playoff game, and that's the goal. That's the only thing they're thinking about, is to be playing the best basketball come February, and that's what we're going to work towards.
All right, James, we'll go to you here, and I usually prepare very well, and this one actually caught me by surprise because I forgot about it. But you got hurt last year, right?
Yeah,
Wildwood Catholic game?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did have that correct. So, and you didn't play the rest of the season, correct?
I played in one playoff game.
Well, that's right, the playoff game. So,
But he just played a total of 5 games.
Yeah. Right. So chopping at the bit to get back, I would assume?
Yeah.
Well, what's it like, senior year now, and you had your junior year basically taken away from you, so, how much are you looking forward to it?
We're really looking forward to it. Just the same goal, win a playoff game, and, we're all going to work as a team this year and hopefully accomplish that goal.
James, talk a little bit about that, and Devin, you as well can chip in. It is a big deal when you lose a guy that averaged 27 points a game last year. Now, that being said, there's no one player that's going to step up and make up for that. I mean, that's just, Josh Wright was once in a program type player. Those guys don't just jump off the school bus every morning. So, but as a team, you share the ball, you spread the ball, you got guys individually that could add 6-7 points to their last year's totals, and you try and get that back spread out because you're not going to do it with one shot. So, talk a little bit about how the guys are talking about that, like in the locker room and on the court.
Well, everyone knows that we lost Josh, and he was a big piece of our team. But losing Josh, because the elephant in the room about Cape May Tech is when I go to all these rec centers, is like, you won't be good without Josh. Josh was your whole team. And that doesn't just put a chip on our shoulder, it puts a whole cinder block on our shoulder. And I think that's very good. And we have some very good young and up-and-coming talent like Dylan DeVecchio and Kevin Castro. Watch out for them. But they're going to be something special. And We added a new coach, Mr. Pickett's, and he adds good offensive schemes with ball movement. That's going to help our team a lot, make up for what we lost in talent last year.
Devin, we're one thing that we could say right now without even seeing you with a ball in your hands is that we're impressed with what you've done to get yourself in better shape, and you have to feel really good here going into your senior year, and I know you want to make an impact.
Oh my God, I feel amazing. I feel like my whole basketball career has been leading up to this season, and I would hate for my shape to be disadvantaged, so I try to be in the best shape I can possibly be. I worked hard. All thanks to Mercado right here. He pushed me to my ability. I remember freshman year, I was 265. He sat me down one-on-one, and he said, I had big plans for you, but you got to get your behind in shape. And that lit a fire under me, and here we are.
So now you said you're what, 195?
195.
195. Wow. So after the show, Josh is going to tell me what he did for you. Buddy and I are going to go on that plan.
Yeah, and not only that, but does the fact that your coach here has a pretty good history in boxing, does that have anything to do with keeping you on your toes?
Oh my God, for sure. I mean, he's a huge help. He's a fitness guru, so I ask him questions, and he knows the answer to them, and I try to absorb, and it worked.
Josh, we talked to Middle Township about the same thing. You're in a really, really difficult division. You're in with Wildwood Catholic, who is probably going to start the season top 5 in the state. Pleasantville, St. Joe. Middle Township obviously has some juice around it with the addition of Tom Faracco and a few key players back. So, what are you going to try to do to compete in that division there?
Well, I think that's the goal, is to compete. I think in many schools you have your conference games, and then you have to be very strategic with your out-of-conference games to put you in the best position to compete in the playoffs. Well, our conference, we have 10 games, 12, whatever games we have. I mean, they're going to be really tough. So our outer conference games, we're making sure that we're playing Group 1 schools that we could potentially see down the road in the playoffs. So for us, we look at our conference not as a disadvantage. We look at our conference play as a chance to kind of, get us tougher and to put us in a better position, come playoff time. Because again, the goal is to win that playoff game. And what better way to do that than challenge yourselves against some of the best teams in the CAL.
We're live at the MudHen High School Basketball Preview Show here on 98.7 The Coast. We're bringing in all the coaches and players from all the different programs throughout Cape May County. Right now we're talking to Cape May Tech head coach Josh Mercado, 2 of the seniors, Devin Roach and James Longstreet. And I know Buddy wants to get to something, but I wanted to ask you real quick, Josh. And I know this kind of started back with Coach Bobby Ridgway. Cape May Tech is still the new kid on the block in Cape May County basketball. Didn't start playing in the Cape Atlantic League until 1996, and I know for a long time there was a battle there for respect. It was almost like Cape May Tech was the outsider. You had all these established programs, and Cape May Tech was the outsider. I mean, do you feel like you're ingratiated now in the Cape May County basketball community with what the kids have done? What Bobby started, what you've tried to continue. Do you feel like you're in the mix there?
Listen, slow and steady wins the race, and I definitely think we're progressing in the right direction. But listen, we're not about participation trophies. We're not happy. We want to keep on getting better and better, and that's the goal. And our goal again is to win that playoff game, and we're going to work very, very hard to make that happen. And yes, as you mentioned, Josh isn't here, and we love him, and I talk to him maybe 3 times a week. I love that kid to death. Mr. South Jersey himself. But I think Wildwood High, a program that I'm very much, that I love and have a lot of respect for. I think they came up with a pretty clear model last year when they graduated Kion Flanders, who also scored 2,000 points. And next thing you know, Wildwood is playing for a South Jersey title. So they obviously know. They also played last year with a chip on their shoulder, and we hopefully can sort of replicate a little bit of what they brought to the table last year.
All right, so we actually have to switch it up. Yeah, we got to switch it up. We got to get the girls on. So, but we appreciate you guys coming. James Longstreet, Devin Roach, good luck in your senior seasons.
Thank you.
Go out there and do the best you can, and try to get a home playoff game this year. That'd be nice. Get a home playoff game.
Like Brian just said, you know what? It's a privilege. Good luck. We enjoy coming out. You guys, James,
we've got 3 Cape May Tech games on the broadcast schedule this year, so we're looking forward to that.
You guys are always a lot of fun because we know you're going to give it your best. So just keep up, have a good year, and Coach,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Guys for having us.
All right, thanks, Josh. Thanks, gentlemen. So that's the Cape May Tech boys. Head coach Josh Mercado, Devin Roach, and James Longstreet, 2 seniors. We wish them good luck this season. We're going to bring the girls on and give us a chance right now to tell you we are live at the MudHen Brewing Company in Wildwood on Rio Grande Avenue. We appreciate Brendan Scare and all the great staff here at the MudHen for having us. We are up in the balcony. A lot of high school basketball players, parents, and coaches here in attendance, and we are now bringing in the Cape May Tech girls basketball program here, and head coach Amber Waddington. And while the girls get set, Amber, we'll start with you. You got to hold that real close to your mouth. It's not, kind of close if you can. Last year, a season where you won 9 games, and I'm not necessarily sure you thought you'd win 9 before the year. So I think you probably did a little better than you thought, didn't you?
To be very honest, I think we could have done better.
Okay.
My expectations of last year really had us at about a 11 and 12 win season, but that was something I kept to myself. I didn't portray that to anybody just because I knew who we had, who was out there, and who can compete against. And we had 2 very close games against Bridgeton and Lower, and those 2 should have been a W in our column. So I think we definitely should have been in that 11-win season, but phenomenal. I mean, to get those kids to be able to believe that they could be that team was what was worth all that to me.
And you had some little accomplishments along the way. You won a bracket and took a trophy home at the Boardwalk Classic. So I know that was fun for your kids. It was interesting because you see some people take success for granted, and your kids almost acted like you won a state championship, and it was great to see when you won that bracket last year. So you have with us, you have Emily Passeri. Did I say that correctly? Passeri. Okay. And you also, and this is?
Leah Williams.
Okay. Well, girls, thanks for coming here with us today at the MudHen. And Emily, we'll start with you. And I know you were one of the key scorers last year. So, what are you looking forward to this year?
We're really young this year, so I'm looking forward to kind of building the team up and helping the younger girls to kind of assimilate into the group we have now, because we're mostly sophomores and freshmen. We only have about 3 seniors and a few juniors, so I'm looking forward to taking kind of our group from last year that we have and bringing the new girls in and kind of showing them the ropes and preparing them for the years when we're gone, so they can keep the team going. And
Leah, what do you enjoy about playing high school basketball? One of the things that we've always noticed, and Buddy's been involved in this because he grew up here, and I'm kind of an outsider. I came here a long time ago, but how big basketball is in Cape May County? What's it like?
I love it. It's definitely a big community. You make friends, you make like everyone around you is just they're like family because you're so close together, and it's so much fun. Everyone's such a good to play against. It's always fun, and it's a great learning experience.
Now, talk a little bit about last year, as Brian alluded to. You guys tasted some success.
Yeah.
Your coach, Coach Waddington, she thought you guys could have won a couple of more games. You had a great Christmas tournament where you were able to actually feel what it was like to step into the winner's circle, so to speak. So, and you graduate from last year's team, your leading scorer, Liza Pellini. So her and her 315 points, they're gone. But Emily, you were the 2nd leading scorer last year. Leah, you contributed offensively. Talk about where those points and Liza's contributions, who's ready to step up to help fill that void.
I think we all are. I think we all know that that was a kind of I don't want to say a crushing blow, but it was something that hurt us, but I think we're all, as a team, know that we need to push it, and we need to work at practice, and we need to get better, and we all need to pick up the slack that anyone has. If anyone has an off day, we all know that we need to pick it up, and that we're all ready to do that.
And Leah, what are some of the goals for the team this year?
Definitely, I think we should beat our winning record than last year. Definitely another Boardwalk Classic win would be awesome. And a lot of building up the next years, just getting everyone ready.
And Coach, Emily touched upon it. Who are some of these younger players that are going to be coming up that you're going to expect to come of age, so to speak?
Sure. So I think last year, like you said, we had to expect a lot of points from Liza. Emily also chipped in a lot. But I had some key younger players step up. Kennedy Campbell, Izzy Schmucker, they filtered themselves into that starting lineup consistently. And I think with those points that Liza was able to produce for us, I think we're going to be a much more well-rounded team this year. I think contribution of points will come across the board from all 5 players. I don't think we're going to have to heavily rely on 1 or 2 to do the scoring. And, I always shared with the girls, I wrote it on the board, there's an equation of how you win a game. And if you strategically work that equation every game, it comes down to your position and points, and it comes down to turnovers allowed in the game. And if you keep everybody's values where they're supposed to be, you come out with the win. And I really think that's something that we're going to be able to do, all 5 on the floor.
So, Kate, in other words, Cape May Tech's girls basketball program, a pioneer in basketball analytics in Cape May County. I like that. I like that. Amber, you're in kind of a unique division in that you have 2 teams at the top that are absolutely outstanding in Middle Township and Wildwood Catholic, and then there's a group of you that kind of battle for that 3rd place spot. And I know you guys feel like that you maybe could be there this year, with Ulmer and Buna and St. Joe and Pleasantville. So how do you think that conference shakes out?
Like you said, Catholic and Middle, they're very strong teams. We do kind of play with that spot with Buna and Ulmer. Ulmer is going to look pretty strong, I think, this year with some people that they had transfer in and who they have.
They got a couple good freshmen in as well, we've heard,
But I think that we could definitely finish out the division in the 3 or 4 spot for sure.
Yeah, well, listen, we appreciate you guys coming on. Emily, Leah, and Amber.
And like Brian said, and the fact that you got these young kids that are stepping up, a couple freshmen last year. And this Izzy Schmucker, she sounds like someone you could go to when you're in a jam.
She, I believe...
Buddy was trying to be funny. Yeah. Obviously, he wasn't, but go ahead.
I got it. I just chose to overlook it. It's okay.
Good. Kind of what I do.
I see.
But no, Izzy, she's a little spitfire, and I say little because she's 5'2", but she doesn't play like she's 5'2", and she has a great outside shot. She has a great head for the game, and she definitely will be one of those 5 that I'm looking to get points from.
All right, well, Amber, Leah, and Emily, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it, and we wish you guys from the girls from the Cape May Tech basketball program, girls basketball program, the best of luck this year, and thanks for coming over to the MudHen and taking part.
And we look forward to being able to watch you girls, cover you girls. And, good luck to the season. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right,
thanks for coming on. You got it. And we are live at the MudHen. Again, it's the high school basketball preview show here on 98.7 The Coast. And we have Wildwood Catholic coming up next after our break. We'll have the boys and girls on from those programs. And again, we are live on Facebook for the video, Coast Sports Today Facebook page. You can also watch it at the coastsportstoday.com website as well. Matt Ulmer handling the video production here at the MudHen, and I'm Brian Kniff alongside Buddy Tarbot, and we're really privileged to bring you this show on what is going to be our 25th year of bringing you high school basketball live play-by-play coverage on 98.7 The Coast. We're up against the break. We'll come back in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll start it with Wildwood Catholic coming up right after this on 98.7 The Coast. All right, see you girls. Thank you. Good luck, okay? What's up, man? All right, we are live at the MudHen Brewing Company on Rio Grande Avenue in Wildwood, back with with our second hour of 3, the high school basketball preview show here for Cape May County High School basketball. And joining us in just a second will be the Wildwood Catholic girls program, and we'll have The boys coming up shortly thereafter. One thing I did want to go over right now is, we are once again scheduled to broadcast numerous high school basketball games on 98.7 The Coast. We'll also have some others on 106.3 The Shore, but Buddy and I are very humbled to say that this is our 25th year of broadcasting high school basketball here in Cape May County, and it's kind of amazing. We talked about this in the beginning. We started this, probably 7 years before Gabby Turco was born. She's going to be one of our guests here for the Wildwood Catholic girls. So
prior to that, I was a coach at Wildwood Catholic with the boys, and I actually coached her father.
Coached her father, right?
Played freshman for me. We have a hell of a story to tell, but not on the air.
So and our broadcast schedule will begin on Thursday the 19th when the Wildwood Catholic boys go to Holy Spirit. That'll be live on 98.7 The Coast, as well as a live video stream on the Coast Sports Today Facebook page and coastsportstoday.com. And those live video streams, as well as the live video stream of today's broadcast, brought to you by Ulmer's Appliance for all of your appliance repair needs in Cape May County. Give them a call at 368-4444. So we do have the Wildwood Catholic girls with head coach Steve DePatri, and he has to his left not only two of his best players, but two of the best players in South Jersey in girls basketball, in senior Gabby Turco and junior Mariana Papazoglu. And we appreciate all you guys coming. And we do want to say, some of your teammates are here: Kimmy Casiello, Lauren McCallion. I almost call her Katie. Too many McCallions that have gone through.
Two former
1,000-point scorers. Listen, this guy's smart. He brings in former 1,000-point scorers, makes himself look good. Don't you think, girls? So Caitlin McMullen in her first year helping out at her alma mater, and Katie Caruso as well. A couple of 1,000-point scorers here at Wildwood Catholic as assistant coaches. And again, we thank you guys for being here. And, Steve, you were at Sacred Heart before, and we know how big basketball is in South Jersey. But when you got to Wildwood Catholic and how crazy basketball is in this county, and I know you probably knew about it, but now that you've been here, what is this, your fifth year, sixth year at Wildwood Catholic? Seventh year at Wildwood Catholic. Your seventh year at Wildwood Catholic. How, just the basketball mania that goes on down here in Cape May County?
Well, there's definitely more kids that play down here. There's no question. That was one of the things when I first took the job I realized. There's all these events with radio, TV that didn't exist. I played in state finals, coached in state finals, and they weren't on the radio. They weren't on the air. So you guys do a great job down here.
Thank you.
And all the local tournaments for the youth, the rec programs do a fantastic job as well.
So, Steve, you have a more experienced group back this year with so many players from last year's team, and you have one player that has already scored 1,000 points in Mariana, and Gabby's on course to get that as a senior. So, let's start with the two of them. I mean, what's it like to be able to fill out a starting lineup every day and be able to write those two names in, knowing that you have this kind of talent at the top of your lineup?
It definitely makes my job easier. There's no question about that. They are a dynamic duo. They're very versatile. I can play them in multiple ways, in multiple positions, and it certainly makes my job easier, but it makes their teammates' job easier as well.
Talk about some of these other kids then too, Coach. And they're here but not on the air. Lauren McCallion, Kimmy Casiello, and some of these other kids. These are kids that played a lot of minutes last year.
And Gray Rivera.
Right. Yeah. Aaliyah, and you and I have talked about this before, about the jump a freshman makes the sophomore year, but also talk about the jump a kid can make regardless of year in school when they've had that year of varsity experience under their belt and they come back having played so much at the varsity level, and you have that luxury this year.
It's tremendous. Typically a freshman always hits the wall at some point during the season, and I remember 2 years ago starting three freshmen, that whole team hit the wall at some point, and that's one of the things we've really focused on this year is not only the experience of playing in big games, but the grind that it takes to be prepared to play in those big games. We spent the whole summer actually playing for the most part without Gab and Mare together to develop the rest of the squad. We spent some time working on physical fitness and things that maybe we hadn't done in the past that we think are going to play huge dividends for us this year. Coach Kate Caruso has been doing a great job getting our team physically ready to play as well.
Start with Gabby here. You're the senior of the two that are on the air with us here, and Gabby Turco, you committed to Division II St. Anselm's in Vermont?
No, New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, okay.
Yeah.
I knew it was in New England.
It's New England.
New
Yeah.
England, yes.
It was new somewhere.
So you're, I know it's a very high-level Division II school. You have to be happy to have that out of the way and be able to play your senior year knowing that you have all that set.
Yeah. Kind of like going into this like school year, I knew by committing before it started, it was not only like a weight off my shoulders like academically, but athletically, like going in, this would be my main focus is high school and Wildwood Catholic would be my main focus, and then on to college next.
Mariana, let's talk to you. You're heavily in the throes of the recruiting stuff now, and I know we've had quite a few visits to quite a few schools that Buddy Tarbonton and I, on our best day, could not get into academically. So
Speak for yourself.
So I know you're going through it, but now the task at hand is to play basketball for Wildwood Catholic. So what are you looking forward to with this season, with having so many of your teammates back from last year? After you had so much success last year, winning 23 games, got to the semifinals of the CAL tournament, got to the semifinals of the South Jersey non-public B tournament, which is an accomplishment in and of itself because that's like playing college teams in that bracket. So what are you looking forward to here this season?
I think having most of our team back this year, everybody back, I think that we can go really far. Like playing with everybody in the summer, it just looks like everybody got physically stronger and mentally stronger. So I think that it's going to be a good year, and I think we can accomplish what we want to be.
Marianne, talk a little bit about, everybody knew locally your pedigree, coming up through grade school, early, your freshman year. High expectations have been placed on you. Talk about a little bit how you deal with that mentally, because, it's kind of where when you step out on the floor, not saying you're supposed to play a near perfect game, but your expectations are a lot higher from those that watch you.
Coming in my freshman year was hard. Playing for Coach Steve, I think he made it as best for me to come in as a freshman and play as hard as I could. I still didn't know everything, like high school wise, but mentally my parents have helped me a lot through it. My coaches for sure. AAU has really helped me a lot with just playing the competition that I played. But as I've gotten older, I think it's been a little bit easier for me mentally, just because I can say that I've been through most situations already.
And Gabby, you come down. Obviously your family has longevity on the island between, your father, your mom, and your grandparents and whatnot. But you come down here as a junior, and you come out on the basketball floor, and people hear, here comes Gabby Turco. She was up at Washington Township, but then people come out and they watched you play, and they were like, "Wow, this girl can really play, and she's going to be a welcome addition." You're not just somebody that stepped out onto the court. You bring a heck of a lot to the table, to the game. Talk about a little bit about the transition of coming from where that area, the Washington Township area, then back here to an area that you know about because your parents.
Well, I didn't really understand like the whole basketball, like how much it is in this community, because up there it's all the schools are bigger, but it's not really that big of a focus on basketball and things like that. But I definitely love the environment that is down here, and I think like having my family, like my mom went to Wildwood High and played down here, so I think that she kind of gave me some advice that way and things like that.
And you're fortunate your father played for an excellent coach, too.
Yeah, Franny St. John did a good job with him.
Yeah.
We're live at the MudHen Brewing Company on Rio Grande Avenue in Wildwood for our high school basketball preview show. Right now we're talking to Steve DiPatri, the head coach of the Wildwood Catholic girls basketball team, and two of his star players, Gabby Turco and Mariana Papazoglu. And Steve, we talked to Cape May Tech about this, but we'll talk. You guys will have a different perspective. But you're in a conference that's kind of top heavy with you and Middle Township, and then a bunch of teams that are trying to get closer to you guys. So what are some of your goals this year? We almost every year, we feel like we have to put a Middle Wildwood Catholic girls game on the air because they're such tremendous games, and every year you guys battle for the conference. We would expect nothing less this year. So I guess let's start there. I mean, and it's going to be another battle between you and Middle Township, I would think.
I would think we're definitely two of the favorites. I think you have to add Our Lady of Mercy back into that mix a little bit. They're adding. They added a couple transfers and a good freshman class as well. But yes, I do think the league is top heavy, and John does a great job at Middle, and it's one of the reasons why we have to prepare ourselves with the tough non-conference schedule that we have this year to be ready so that we can be the best version of ourselves every night out. And if we continue to focus on our culture and being the best that we can be, we think the results will take care of themselves.
So, what are goals this year? I mean, certainly to get into the Cal tournament, compete for the conference title and that type of thing. But when you look beyond that to South Jersey non-public B, sometimes I don't think people realize how difficult of a field that is. And for you guys to win 2 games last year was quite an accomplishment. Do you feel like you're armed with enough that maybe if you get the right draw, you have a shot to even go further?
Absolutely. Last year beating Gill St. Bernard's, they had 3 Division I players on that team. And if anyone saw that game, we played fantastic, and we beat a very good basketball team. So we feel as if we're equipped to play with these teams. And if we were to get the right draw, we think we can compete with the powers that be in that group.
Gabby touched on it as kind of a coming into the area as a new player, how mad Cape May County is for basketball. But Mariana, you know that very well. There's probably no bigger fan of high school basketball than your mother. We know, and basketball in general. And what we like about her is that she goes out and supports everybody. Even the kids from the other teams and all the other teams as well. But it's special to play basketball in this community, isn't it?
Yeah. I would say just because our community is so small, I feel that basketball is such a big thing. Like when it's basketball season, everybody down here knows. Everybody is asking for everybody's schedule, going to the game, supporting one another, and I can even say it, as big as our Middle Township rival is, everybody on that court knows each other, and we all I feel like it's just like down here basketball's something special, like compared to all other leagues.
And you talk about Mariana's mother, Harula, and you can just walk into the Hot Spot restaurant during the summer, and it's an
all-star basketball team.
There's an all-star basketball team working there between the boys and the girls. I mean, really, I would take my pick of the litter, and we're going to go out and kick some butt. And I love that. I think that's great too. It's really, really funny. But yes, and another thing, standing over there in the back, as you had mentioned earlier, we got Kimmy Casciello and Lauren McCallion, who had, you talk about family, Lauren's father played for some pretty good teams, coached by Franny St. John back in the day. Won a South Jersey championship, played for a state title. Kimmy Casciello comes from the Fracco line, and I played with her uncle Skippy, who I won't even talk about his antics on the basketball court, but that's besides the point. But there is all that lineage, you know what I mean, that that comes down, and it's so nice to see that it is still maintained and it still goes on.
Yeah, we see it. We see it move on with the next generation. We really do. Steve, what do you see around the league? Because obviously inside the conference, we would expect that you would be a playoff team. You're going to battle Middle most likely for that conference title, and then the Cal playoffs. Ocean City graduated a lot, but Middle has a lot back. Atlantic City is talented. ACIT will retool, but they were pretty good last year. What do you see league-wide throughout the Cape Atlantic League?
Well, there's definitely a lot of talent.
Did I mention Mainland? They have a kid there that's decent.
Oregon. Yeah, she's pretty good.
I think you forgot that.
Yeah, she's pretty good. And Absegami's up and coming. The league has some strong teams. There's no question about it. There's some great coaches in this league, some great players, and we expect to be battled in all of our Cal games, especially in the tournament. Looking back at the history of the tournament, most of the games that I've been involved in have come down to the last possession. Last year we beat Atlantic City. Gab hit a foul shot with 0.6 of a second left. Caitlin McMullen was in school in 2016. We beat them at the buzzer on a layup. A couple of Cal finals I coached against Ocean City came down to the last possession, one against Middle. So, we expect great battles. And, you talk about the history of this county, there hasn't been a Cape tournament final on the girls' side without either Middle Township, Ocean City, or either Sacred Heart or Wildwood Catholic. So there's a lot of history there.
And, real quick, you mentioned Absegami, and that program, when Greg Goodwin was there, was one of the tops in the state.
Yep.
And it's coming back, and there's a kid up there with the last name of Schaefer, whose father has a 1,000-point banner hanging up in the Warrior Gym.
Yep.
So, it's kind of funny when you look at there's just so much spread out.
Yep. There's a lot of talent in the Cape Atlantic League. There's no question about it.
All right, so we appreciate you guys coming on. We got to move along and get the boys on. So Mariana Papazoglu, Gabby Turco, head coach Steve DePatri, thanks for joining us and representing.
Thanks for having us.
You got it, the Wildwood Catholic girls basketball program here on our high school basketball preview show on 98.7 The Coast. And best of luck this year to you guys. And we, as always, it's a pleasure to have them. And we will have that game where they play Middle Township on the air Monday, January 6th at Middle Township. It'll be Wildwood Catholic and Middle. We'll have that live on 98.7 The Coast. And we look forward to that. And again, our 25th year of broadcasting high school basketball on 98.7 The Coast in Cape May County, and kind of celebrating that with this first ever. We've kind of done high school basketball previews, but not to this extent, not to this format. 3 hours and
Ocean City traveling there. Their coaches are here.
Ocean City's coming down.
Players are here.
Yeah,
so waiting for their turn. It's turned out exactly the way you and I thought it would, because no one knows this basketball community better.
Yes, you're absolutely right. So now joining us, in case you might have heard, there's a school at 15th and Central that's got in North Wildwood. It's got a pretty good boys basketball team. So we are joined now. Wildwood Catholic doesn't have a football team, but they had to pull an audible today. They had a couple players that were supposed to join us get a little banged up in practice. We're told that they are going to be okay, but they kind of just needed to go home and kind of put their feet up and rest. So, and Dave DeWeese, the head coach, could not make it. He is at the Sixers game or on his way to the Sixers game. So Mark DeRogeris, who is the assistant coach, and he certainly has some experience in dealing with the media because he was a head coach before at Woodbury. And then also joining us are Jacob Hopping and David Zarfati from the Wildwood Catholic Police team.
Grab a chair and pull it over. Sit on the end.
And Jared Hopping is here as well, Jacob's younger brother. So we appreciate you guys coming and joining us. And what a wonderful year last year, Mark. Let's talk about that first. And you took the eventual tournament Tournament of Champions winner in Ranney to overtime, and they got a kid in Scotty Lewis we're watching on TV play for Florida right now. Brian Antoine we're watching on TV play for Villanova. And even though you didn't win that game, the experience of it and the experience of last year, winning the Cape Atlantic League Championship, winning a school record 27 games, and just being in that overtime situation with Ranney, it had to be an experience of a lifetime for the program and for the kids.
It was a phenomenal year, and that's a testament to all these guys and their hard work throughout the year. Every practice is very competitive and very tough. We demand perfection there, and they get very close to it each time in practice and in games. And I think last year was a perfect testament to their hard work and dedication. We did fall short, but we're looking forward to a good year again this year. So
a lot of guys back. Brendan McGonigal was the only senior that played a lot, and he's doing well at the college level at Holy Family. And but now you have Jaleel White, who's going to Temple, Taj Tweed, who's going to West Virginia. Jacob's getting college looks. Some of these other kids are getting college looks. You have so much back. There's so much expectation. When the preseason rankings come out, you're probably going to be top 5 in the state. You're most likely going to be number 1 or 2 in South Jersey. So what's it like, considering that last year you have a body of work of 27-2, a CAL title to kind of validate that, but you haven't done anything yet for this year. I mean, all that is a ranking. So what's it like to try to handle those expectations?
I mean, rankings are great, but I mean, we haven't played a game yet. We've been through some practices. We kind of have a clean slate. So, last year's over and done with, and we're on to a new year. We have an even harder schedule than we had last year. Patrick School, Elizabeth. We play Notre Dame. We play Archbishop Wood. I mean, really, really tough powerhouse schools around the area. So we're always thinking the next day. We have a scrimmage tomorrow. We're treating that like a game. We game prep and everything. So it's a whole new year. So we're not focusing on anything else but the day ahead. So.
And Jacob, talk a little bit about where you're at, like your role. Like last year, you were one of the guys that was looked at to take that big shot. You were very consistent. You were a go-to guy, and obviously, not to talk about a sore subject, but that baseline jumper that you took, for that 3, where everyone to this day is going to say you got fouled, but that call didn't go Wildwood Catholic's way against Rainey. But talk about that part of what you bring to the table, that inside toughness and that mental toughness that you do produce, and that you help settle the flow, so to speak, out there on the floor.
I think obviously I'm not the best person on the.
Keep talking, you're good.
Obviously I'm not the best player on the court with Taj Jalil on our team, but I have to bring a different type of energy to keep our team and them at a high level, and I think my role in that is to play as tough and as hard as I can, and that elevates their game and gets them hyped when I do get a steal or do something good. And I think all around, that's me doing the dirty work is kind of helping our team in a lot of different ways. That they're doing a lot of the scoring and big parts of the game, and I mean, I sure I have my times when I do that, but I'm more of the dirty work kind of guy.
And a lot of people walk away after a Wildwood Catholic game, after watching you play, and they talk about how tough that kid is, how tough he bangs. He goes, he's not afraid to take the ball to the basket. He doesn't settle for the 3 or shoot the jump shot. He's willing to drive and really get into that. Talk a little bit about that, Coach. How that it sets the tone for the rest of the team.
Well, I think last year, you look at games like Cherokee, when we played them at Rancocas Valley last year, we were down 18 going into the 4th quarter. We ended up winning that game because Jacob, started playing his game, and once he, starts playing his game and makes the extra pass, gets the rebound, gets to the basket, it's hard to stop, and he rattled off a couple in a row. Then once he gets inside, makes a couple in a row, the defense gets off him, then he starts hitting his outside shot. You get to see the game against Rainey in the 4th quarter. He had a heck of a game, and definitely in the fourth quarter making shots. Cherokee, he had a game winner at Atlantic City in a tournament. I mean, those games when we need him, and he plays great defense. He's one of the better defenders in the CAL. You know, when he's on and he gets on in a rhythm, it's hard to stop. So, you know, he needs to give himself a little bit more credit on that too.
David, we want to ask you. You guys play a very, very difficult schedule. You go to a lot of these showcase events. You're going to start the year. Your second game, you're going to play Notre Dame in Ocean City. You're going to play a couple of out-of-state teams at the Boardwalk Classic, Archbishop Wood, Elizabeth. At the Seagull, you're playing at a big one at Cherry Hill East, at Paul VI. How much do you guys enjoy that, being in that spotlight and playing that kind of a schedule?
I think playing that kind of schedule, it's definitely energizing. It definitely gets us extremely excited before the season and before every single game. It makes practices definitely more fun because we have something to look forward to every day, really.
And David, talk a little bit about your contribution. You come in again, you're another one of those tough-nosed players. Last year, you started the season, starting, and you never know where you're going to end up or what your role is going to be. You could be the sixth man, you could end up starting, but what you bring out to the table is you don't turn the ball over, you play good defense, and you make smart decisions. Talk about the mindset to get yourself ready to play that type of role for this team.
I think not focusing on like my starting spot or sixth man, just coming out with energy every single day, every single practice, every play, just coming out, making the right decision, doing what's best for the team.
And Brian, we talk about this a lot. It's guys like David, Ben Church, what Ben Church brings to the table when he comes off the bench. Jared's going to be in that role. Jared Hopping, Jake's younger brother, he's going to be in that role. Where these guys, they're just as important as the so-called stars, because if you don't get contributions from and smart basketball from the guys that are coming in and playing their role, so to speak, you're not going to win many games.
We are live at the MudHen Brewing Company on Rio Grande Avenue in Wildwood for the high school basketball preview show here on 98.7 The Coast. Right now we're talking to Wildwood Catholic assistant coach Mark DeRogeris and two of the players, Jacob Hopping and David Zarfati. And Coach, what is it like? I'm sure Coach DeWeese has talked about this, but with the accomplishments of last year and with having so many players back, with having two Division I kids who have committed, actually signed already as well, as they had their signing last month, I guess there's a potential to have distractions here. There's going to be a lot of media coverage. There's going to be a lot of attention on this program. So how is that talked about, in your locker room at your practices?
So after practice, we link up at half court, all in arms, and we talk about this being a brotherhood for the whole season. Like this is what we're concerned about. These are our brothers. These are our family during the season. So any outside noise doesn't pertain to the circle in here, and that's what we go along with. It's a very tight-knit group. We know that the game on TV on ESPNU coming up. There's going to be a lot of cameras, a lot of outside people, a lot of interviews.
That's the game against the Patrick School.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But as long as we stick together in that group and worry about what we're doing and what we can control, then we'll be good. Everything else can take care of itself.
Jacob, two Cape Atlantic League championships in a row, and now that you're a senior, I'm sure you want to go out with a third, and everybody's going to be gunning for you. So, talk about, we from the media standpoint, and I think coaches as well, I think everybody really enjoys that tournament because it's a one and done setting against really good teams. But if you lose, your season's not over. You have the state tournament. So, how much do you enjoy that tournament? How much are you looking forward to trying to defend that championship?
We look forward to that tournament every year. At that point in the year, everything's really starting to heat up with obviously the Cal playoffs and then the state playoffs after. So that's everything we worked for the entire season, and we're looking forward to defending our title and going to win another one and playing against some great teams in the Cal.
And we didn't even talk about two other players, Deshaun Lopez, who brings a lot to the team, and the transfer in, Martin Angelov. I mean, talk a little bit about what the dynamics that they bring to the game, they bring to the table, and how are they fitting. Now, we know Lopez, he kind of plugged right in last year, but Martin Angelov, known to be one of the best shooters in South Jersey. How is all these pieces coming together?
Deshaun's playing great. He's one of the guys that could do it all. You might see a line of like 9 points, 7 assists, 7 or 8 rebounds, kind of everywhere. And defensively, he's a dog in there. He plays really good defense. He'll be a lot of fun to watch just by his overall play and his love for the game. Martin's playing really well. I know he's known as a shooter, but people are going to find out that he's much more than that. He's very cerebral, very smart basketball player. He can play the pick and roll well, come off screens well. He's very intelligent on the court. He does more than just shoot the 3-ball. And we're looking forward to having him showcase that this year.
All right, we're up against the break, so we do have to go.
We know Coach DeRogeris, he won a state title at Woodbury, you know what I mean? And he's got a hell of a basketball career. But my God, he just used the word cerebral on a basketball show?
He did. Yes, he did.
Yeah, Wildwood Catholic will do that too.
Yeah, that's the truth. David Zarfati, Jacob Hopping, two of the key players from Wildwood Catholic, assistant coach Mark DeRogeris, and we're really looking forward to covering you guys this year. We actually have, during the regular season, we have 8 Wildwood Catholic games on 98.7 The Coast for our 25th year of broadcasting high school basketball here in Cape May County, opening up with that season opener at Holy Spirit on Thursday, December 19th, right here on The Coast. We thank you guys for joining us and taking time out on your Sunday for coming with us. And we'll take a break. We'll be back right after this with more of the high school basketball preview show on 98.7 The Coast. in Wildwood. Brian Kniff alongside Buddy Tarbonton, high school basketball preview show here on 98.7 The Coast. Also live on Facebook on the Coast Sports Today Facebook page. The video stream brought to you by Matt Ulmer of Ulmer's Appliance. For all of your appliance repair needs in Cape May County, give him a call at 368-4444. Joining us now as we move further into our preview show is the boys team from Ocean City. And we have head coach John Bruno along with a couple of the players, Mike Rhodes and Gannon Brady, and we appreciate you guys making the drive down here. We know it's not around the corner from Ocean City to Wildwood, but we appreciate you coming down here, and we always know that Coach Bruno is always willing to check out the atmosphere at another establishment.
Absolutely. And this is a good one.
Yes. So John, thanks for coming on with us, and congratulations on a great year last year. 20 wins. I think it was your first 20-win season. As competitive as your program has been over the years, it was your first 20-win season. You second? Okay, second. Sorry.
No, but before that was my first. Last 2 years.
Oh, that's right. The last 2 years. You're right. Okay. And then you had an upset in the Cape Atlantic League tournament, beat Millville, and you really hung with St. Augustine, and you unfortunately got knocked off in the second round of the Group 3 tournament. But to go 20-5 had to be a great year last year, and I know you're looking to keep that going with this group you have here.
Absolutely. First of all, I want to thank both you and Buddy for what you're doing, both for not only Ocean City but for all of the sports down in the lower Cape May region area, because Cape May County, because a lot of times I think they forget about us down here. But yeah, last year was a pretty exciting year. We had some kids really developed that came along the way. Unfortunately, we graduated, a handful of seniors toward that, but every year is a new experience, and I'm looking forward to this group of kids this year.
Two of your leading scorers, Joey Sacco and Donovan Graham, have both graduated, but you do have Gannon here, and Gannon averaged 13.5 points per game. Made a 22 3-pointers, so was a pretty good outside shooter. Shot 72% from the line, and I'm sure you're leaning on him as well as Mike, who really came along and was a factor inside for you. So I know you'll be leaning on these two guys that you have here with you.
Yeah, Gannon's got to go from that role player when he had a lot of seniors around him to being a guy that we're going to lean on and expect a lot from. And Mike was probably our most improved player, a kid that we really didn't expect much out of as we started the year. But as the year progressed, I thought he was one of the better rebounders in the league. His skills around the post got a little bit better each game, and the experience that both of these they received last year will be definitely beneficial to us this year.
And a guy like, another guy that Brian didn't mention, but Lou Ferrallo. You never knew what he was going to give you coming off the bench. But he could shoot.
Yeah, I want to put a scouting report out there on us now, but we're not going to shoot the ball quite as well as we did the last couple of years. We were pretty much guard-oriented, guard-dominated. Now we have a little bit of size. We have Mike here and Tommy Finnegan, who goes about 6'5", Bradley Jamison, who had a very successful football season too, goes about 6'3", 6'4", but it's different when you are trying to work with big men as opposed to guards.
Well, I was going to ask you that, John, because you've always been a guard-heavy team. I know there's been years where you've basically played 5 guards. You maybe had a 6'2" kid that was really a guard playing in the post because someone had to play in there. So what's the challenge here? You're going to have to, you're going to be doing stuff with kids with their back to the basket and things like that.
Some serious philosophical changes, and again, you can't make them pigeonhole into what you want to do. You have to look at what you have and try to make it work for you. And right now, we do have a little bit of size, not as much ball handling, and maybe not as much shooting, but if you put those same people in the best positions to shoot the ball, maybe they become better shooters. I think when we say shooters, we think of 3-point shooters. Right. And so that's what we don't have. We don't really have predominantly any 3-point shooters, but as the season progresses with daily work, you can become a good 10 to 15-foot jump shot, and Mike here is going to be around the basket most of the time, and so we're hoping that he can put those things back. So we'll see. We're going to be a work in progress for sure.
Gannon, let's ask you this one, and you're still a junior, correct? Junior, but Ocean City High School, I don't know what's in the water up there, but it seems like every program up there has a lot of success. We see what happened in the fall with all the teams, saw what the basketball team did last year. So how cognizant of that are you that, with basketball, you guys got to represent for the school? We have good programs here, and we want to make a name for ourselves with basketball.
Yeah, so we have a winning culture here at Ocean City, and I think a big part of it is that we're really tight-knit, and we're all everyone on the basketball team is really close friends and everything. So we just have like a lot of chemistry. And as the season goes on this year, I think you're going to see a lot of improvement with us. And yeah, we just have a lot of chemistry with us.
All right, we're live at the MudHen High School Basketball Preview Show here on 98.7 The Coast. We're now talking to Ocean City head coach John Bruno and two of the key players, Mike Rhodes and Gannon Brady.
And Gannon, before we came on the air, Coach Bruno mentioned during the break, you're another one of those multiple athletes, as is Mike. And you're going to be a junior, but you've already decided on your college you're going to go to Fordham for baseball. Mm-hmm. So, and I know Ocean City's renowned for a pretty good baseball program. So, it's that, like Brian was talking about, that winning culture that is developed up in Ocean City where, and it's not like it's a cocky awareness, you know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is. When you're going to go battle up at Ocean City, no matter what the sport is, and now particularly basketball, boys and girls, you're gonna be in for one. So, you were the leading three-point shooter that's left from last year's team, so you had the best percentage even on last year's team. And as Coach just said, now we're going to go more into the inside game. So do you see obviously the guys are going to do what the coach says. So, we got to kind of be looking forward to the fact that we're going to pound the ball inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Coach Bruno puts us in good positions to succeed. And we'll definitely play hard every game. We'll try to compete in every game that we can. And Coach Bruno will definitely have us ready this year.
Mike, last year you guys ended up winning the National Conference, the regular season title, and your coach and maybe even you guys when you're going through it, it may have been more nerve-wracking than fun. But when you look back at it, it had to be fun. There were 4 teams. It really went down to the wire. You guys, Mainland, Holy Spirit, Lower Cape May. Talk about that and talk about, I would imagine you think you're going to be able to compete for the conference title again this year.
Yeah, losing Luke.
Go ahead.
Losing Luke, Joey, Donovan, and all of them, it took away all of our shooting, really. And we just know that this year, if we're going to be bigger, we're going to have to be able to get the paint and get the boards.
John, let's go to you on that. It was really fun from a media standpoint and a fan standpoint to watch that National Conference race last year. The way it played out. There were 4 teams at the top, and then all of a sudden at the end, Cedar Creek started beating people. That was really a wild conference race. And you look back, it had to be a lot of fun to be able to play that many big games in your league.
And I think that's what people don't realize. I never look at our league as a level of how many Division I players we have, or are they going to the next level. How's our league? And our league has always been competitive. And last year at that time, it was kind of fun. You were looking. I guarantee you, times after our game, as soon as I walked in the back, I was like, all right, how'd Mainland do? How'd Holy Spirit do? Everybody wanted to know, what was going on, and we all knew what it meant. But one thing about these kids is that I think they've always kept their heads to the game that we're at. They never really looked ahead, and they never got down when we didn't succeed. They didn't worry about it. That's one thing the last handful of years I think has really helped us, is we've been talented, but we also don't get down when we get beat, and we also don't get too high when we win. We look to play the next game, and I think that's one of the key in all of athletics about that.
Mike, you guys have and Gary, both of you can answer this. We talk about how successful all the programs are at Ocean City, but the home basketball games have to be especially fun because I don't know, there's not many schools in the Cape Atlantic League, maybe St. Augustine Prep, but there's not many schools in the CAL that get the kind of student support and even the community support that you guys get at your home games. You'll be 3/4 full to sold out at just about every game. What's it like to play knowing you have that kind of support behind you?
It changes the game knowing that everybody in that gym is rooting for you, and they're bringing the energy to keep you guys, just no matter what happens in the game, you're just going to know, okay, there's always going to be a next play. You're always going to have another chance to make a big play and get the crowd back up and get the team back up.
Okay, so John, we didn't really get into this, but what are your expectations this year with this group?
I'm going to be day to day. I really am. It's really a learning experience for me. Even after all these years, it's probably the first year that I've looked at a big team as opposed to a guard-oriented team. So what we used to do with guards can't necessarily do here. But that's why you get better. You ask those forwards that aren't really guards to handle the ball a little bit better. Expect big things out of Mike around the basket. Gannon's going to do more things where he won't just shoot threes. He's going to have to put the ball on the floor, get to the rim, get to the line, distribute, and really we become almost like we don't master any all. We're jack of all trades type comment. And the only thing I would like to mention, I think part of our success has been the fact that these kids, and I want to reiterate this as much as I can, that they do play more sports. Mike's a very good football player. He's going to play basketball. He does track. Gaddon's in basketball. He's excelling in baseball, and yet he's not saying I'm going to give up my basketball to play. Because sports need athletes, and I think more sports need more athletes. And when we start specializing in playing one sport versus another, I think it's cheating another sport. And I'm talking about high school. I don't necessarily talk about scholarships. I'm not talking about who's going to go to the pros. I'm talking about high school athletes. And I think you look around, the more successful programs, the kids are in fact through the school are in fact playing multiple sports. You'll see that with our girls. Somebody like Abby Fenton playing 3 sports, and that's what I encourage, and I wish that we would probably push that fact a little bit more. But these two are a credit to that multi-sport attitude.
And not to put any more pressure, on Gannon Brady, but last year he was also your team's leading rebounder, and he was a percentage point off being your leading free throw shooter, and he got to the line the second most amount of times. So Gannon, we're going to be looking at you to really pick up that workload.
Yeah, no pressure, but
yeah, I mean, we have a lot of guys. We're mostly juniors this year, so we're going to be a young team. But we have a lot of guys that are ready to step up and fill the voids that the seniors left us last year.
All right, well, listen, thanks, guys, for coming down. We really appreciate it. Gannon Brady, Mike Rhodes, 2 of the key players from Ocean City, and, of course, head coach John Bruno. And a programming note, we will have a lot of the Ocean City games on our sister station, 106.3 The Shore, with Tom Williams and his crew. And, we look forward to hearing that. And we look forward to your opener. That will be interesting, John, against Middle Township. Tom Ferracco back in your gym. Yeah. He probably already has you guys as a 34-point favorite.
Absolutely.
You know how Tommy is.
Absolutely.
But we also know that it'll probably be decided on the last couple possessions.
That you can count on too.
All right, the Ocean City guys, thanks for joining us here.
I appreciate all you guys do.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, gentlemen. Good luck this year.
And Coach, Brian's got your toll money.
All right, we have the Ocean City girls coming next, but we are actually going to we'll take a break first. We'll take our final break of the 5 o'clock hour, and then we'll bring the Ocean City girls on next. We thank John Bruno, the head coach, and then Mike Rhodes and Gannon Brady, 2 players from the Ocean City boys team, coming off a 20-win season, looking to continue that success in 2019-2020. And we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back with more of the high school basketball preview show. You can watch it live on CoSportsToday.com or the CoSports Today Facebook page, courtesy of Ulmer's Appliance. And we'll be right back after this on 98.7 The Coast. All right, back live at the MudHen Brewing Company here on Rio Grande Avenue in Wildwood, and we want to thank everyone from the MudHen, from Brendan on down, for helping us out.
Don't
Yes,
forget Bly.
and
She's
get
been
us
phenomenal.
absolutely getting us set up here, and glad to do this high school basketball preview show here on 98.7 The Coast, as well as live video stream on coastsportstoday.com and the Coast Sports Today Facebook page. And joining us now is the girls program from Ocean City with head coach Paul Baruffi and two of the key players in Abby Fenton and Emma Finnegan. And thanks for making the long trip down here.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, no problem. And coming down from the Ocean City Upper Township area. And Paul, first of all, let's first talk about last year. And what a wonderful season that was. You won a Cape Atlantic League championship game, and every time you play Mainland, every time you play Middle, the game seems to go down to the last possession, and you won enough of them to win a league title last year, and you win 23 games. Had to be a fun season.
Yeah, it was. A lot goes into it, and to get to those 2 games at the end of the year is our goal. We try to set that at the beginning of the year, and the CAL game was a great game. Could have gone either way, which is always the case with Middle.
Right.
I think we've gone overtime with them more than we've beaten them in regulation, or they've beaten us in regulation. And the Mainland game, to be in the South Jersey final is always a great experience.
Paul, you lost quite a few players from last year's team. Danielle Donahue was your leading scorer. Tori Rolls was probably on what's always a good defensive team, probably your best defender. So what's the transition here? I know these two ladies to your left will certainly help in that regard, but what's the transition when you lose such valuable pieces?
We definitely have to fill some spots, but we have a good core of seniors back. Abby, Emma, Delaney Lappin, and Lauren Mursky all played a lot. I have a lot of confidence in them. Then we have some younger girls that so far the first week of practice have meshed pretty well. So I think we're going to be a team that improves as the year goes on. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time for everybody to play together.
Abby, first of all, congratulations on your soccer season. Thank you. State championship goaltender. I know you broke all kinds of shutout records and wins records for goalkeeping, and congratulations on that. Had to be just a magical experience those last few weeks of soccer season.
Thank you. Yeah, it was awesome. That's something that you dream about as a senior, like as a way to go out. It was my last soccer game ever, and to win a state championship, it was a goal from the beginning of the year. So just to achieve that and have that dream come true was awesome.
So having gone through that as a senior, how do you bring that sense of urgency to your team in basketball? Because obviously this is your last go around in basketball too, and you want to make it a good one.
Yeah, that was a great feeling for soccer. So we were working on in basketball, having a great practice every day, have a lot of energy, staying focused because we have goals too for the season. So we want to hopefully achieve all those goals, and by doing that we have to stay focused, take it one game at a time and make sure we have energy in everything that we do.
Emma, what's it like playing in this program? Because it's awfully competitive. I know your practices must be competitive, and then you get out there and you play a tough schedule. And what's the experience like playing basketball at Ocean City?
I think everyone, if you live in Upper Township or go to Ascending District that goes to Ocean City, has always gone to the games as kids and just looked up to those girls and seen them as celebrities, really. And when you see them play, you want to be like, I want to be like them when I'm older. So when I came in as a freshman, I had a really good group of seniors, and they just led with just such confidence and just amazing work ethic and taught us all the lessons that they have learned over the years. So as I went throughout high school, I kind of just followed that, and now that we're seniors, I think we're just trying to copy what they did or be the best version that we can to do the same thing so the program continues.
And this is for either of you, and this will be not really a serious question, well, kind of. But one of the things that I've noticed with the program at Ocean City over the years is that the more your coach seems to unwind on the sidelines and lose his mind, the more focused and the better you guys seem to execute and play. So why does that happen? A lot of teams, if you see the coach going crazy, the kids go crazy. For some reason, he has it so that you guys actually zone in when he starts to lose his mind.
Be nice.
I feel like sometimes when they just tell us stuff, it can go through one ear in and one out.
Right.
But when he tells us stuff and we have to listen, and I'd like to fire underneath us, and we're like, okay, this is what needs to happen, or it's not going to go away. And we know everything that he's telling us is true, and that we need to listen to it in order to succeed. So when he tells us, we're like, okay, guys, we have to listen if we want to win and do good things.
Paul, go ahead.
Real quick, I want to go back to what Emma said, because this is something, and I know, Paul, you're going to be able to relate. When she talked about growing up watching Ocean City basketball, I don't know if there's a more storied program going back into the 70s than the Ocean City Red Raider girls basketball program, the championships, the players, and it's carried up on through. And how, growing up, the players in grade school, they emulate and they want to be, Lisa Foglio, or they want to be Stephanie Vandersloot. I'm going back to my age group. But what the guy and the girls that you watched, and I think that is one hell of a, not everybody that goes out on a basketball court by themselves, an outdoor court, necessarily wants to be Sue Bird or whatnot. To take it all the way back to that high school level, that's old school imagination.
Yeah, I actually had Stephanie speak to the team this summer. She came in, she does a camp at the high school, and she's there for a few weeks. And, I wasn't around Ocean City, obviously, when she played, but I knew what the program was when I was taking it over. And there's some pressure there, because of the fact that there's success. And you want to try to build on that. And she's been an awesome college coach, obviously, the things they did last season. And
she learned from one of the best, Pat Docker.
Yes, Pat was there, established a great program. And, Pat was demanding.
Yeah.
So, she kind of understood.
The boys were scared of her.
Yes. So, so they understood what it's about, and I just thought it was a great opportunity for Stephanie to come in and talk to the girls, give some of her perspective.
Paul, this has been a recurring theme with a lot of the coaches. They've talked about this tonight, and I know you've benefited from this, and you have two of them sitting right here, multi-sport athletes. And I know in some regards, you maybe sometimes think, man, I wish a few of my girls had a ball in their hands a little bit more. But in other regards, having those multi-sport athletes, the experiences they bring to the program are certainly beneficial.
Oh yeah, I really am an advocate for that. I think they should play as much as possible. Have fun with it. A lot of times one sport's their main sport, and obviously they're going to pay more attention to that. But when you get girls that play in a state soccer tournament game, or we've had field hockey players and multiple sports.
Lacrosse.
They're going to be competitive. They're going to be competitors.
And tough.
Yeah, you can rely on them. They know how to practice hard. Some of my girls in the summertime are going through a full weightlifting session with me, and then going out in the track and doing a full workout with the soccer team. And they're not easy workouts. So you're going to get tough kids out of that.
Emma, this year, last year you didn't win the conference, but you end up winning the Cape Atlantic League tournament. You have your biggest rival has a transcendent player that you guys have played against in Kylie Watson. What are those battles like? Because you've played multiple times over the years.
So I've known Kylie, actually both of us, since 4th grade, and we really became friends when we joined the same AAU team. And I think as the years, as we've grown closer and friends, and it's just every competition, you really don't know what's going to happen. It could go either way. We've won championships and we've lost championships, and it really just matters on, I think, more so the whole team, because one player isn't really the whole team. And I think it's just, if the whole entire team comes to play, that team is going to win.
We're live at the MudHen Brewing Company in Wildwood for the high school basketball preview show here on 98.7 The Coast, talking to Ocean City girls coach Paul Baruffi, two of his players, Abby Fenton and Emma Finnegan. And Abby, basketball can be such a long season. It's longer than soccer, certainly longer than lacrosse. You start now, you're coming out of the gym, a lot of cold nights, and things things like that. You're practicing at night, away games and whatnot. But then you get to the end of the season, and how much fun, Cape Atlantic League tournament, state tournament, that's got to make it all worth it.
Yeah, in the beginning it is hard. It's long practices, you're putting everything in that you need for the season, but when the playoff time comes and the championships come, it makes it all worth it, especially if you're able to win it. You look back at those practices in the beginning, you're like, wow, it really was worth it to go through all that, late nights and everything. But it really does become super fun when we get down to the end, and that's when we're all the closest, and I think that's when our team reaches its peak and we're ready to win. Go.
Yeah, I'll tell you another credit to you ladies. It's always fun to either cover your games or just come up and watch as a fan. I'll walk into the gym and people will say, "Oh, this game, you go on the radio?" I said, "No, I just drove up here because I like watching Coach Baruffi's girls and the way they play, and that's a privilege, and it's the best dollar you can spend during the winter, and more people need to take advantage of that, and you guys are a credit to that, and I thank you for that."
Thank you.
Paul, your expectations for this year. You have, as you said, a couple of experienced players here, some other ones that played a little bit last year, and I know you got some younger kids that look to step in. And where do you see yourselves fitting in, both in the conference and in the league, and in Group 3 in South Jersey as well?
Well, early on we have a very difficult schedule. We have Cherokee, Lenape, Rancocas Valley, Kingsway early on, so we're playing some tough teams. My goal is always to get ready for later in the season for the Cape Atlantic League tournament, hopefully, and the Group 3. I think we'll be competitive. I think we will get better as the year goes on. Obviously, Mainland is the team in our conference, but I think there's a lot of other very good teams in the Cape Atlantic League. I think it's going to be very competitive, with Middle and Wildwood Catholic and other teams that should make it very interesting. It should be a lot of fun.
All right, well, listen, we thank you guys for coming down on a Sunday night. We know it's a little bit of a ride for you, but Emma Finnegan, Abby Fenton, two of the key players for Ocean City, and Coach Paul Baruffi, thanks for joining us here at the MudHen on the high school basketball preview show.
Thank you.
All right,
you got it.
Thank you.
Again, we'll have coverage of Ocean City this year as well, on our stations, especially as we get toward tournament time. We'll have Lower Cape May coming up next. And
Coach,
Coach, go ahead.
Brian's got your toll money.
I have your toll money. We have to figure out, did Scott have to get out of a bartending shift for this tonight? I don't know if he did or didn't, but we'll have Lower Cape May coming on next. Thank you guys for coming. Appreciate it. Good luck this year, okay? Thank you. All right, so Emma Finnegan, Abby Fenton, and Coach Paul Baruffi of the Ocean City girls. And rolling right along here, we will bring in the Lower Cape May boys team, and head coach Scott Holden and junior Jordan Pierce are here. And we will, as we get them set up to come on the air here. Matt Ulmer has the trickiest headsets you will ever see. And every kid picks them up like they're a puzzle. Like, how do I put these things on my head? So Matt has to kind of do it himself. So now Jordan's all set, and we bring in the Lower Cape May boys team. And we thank everybody for joining us here on 98.7 The Coast. This is airing live on the Coast Sports Today Facebook page with video, as well as coastsportstoday.com. We thank Matt Ulmer of Ulmer's Appliance for all of your appliance repair needs in Cape May County, 368-4444. And again, coming up on our 25th season of broadcasting high school basketball on 98.7 The Coast, with the regular season starting on December 19th, and with Wildwood Catholic Holy Spirit. And we'll have a Lower Cape May Wildwood game on the air right after Christmas at the Boardwalk Basketball Classic. And we appreciate the guys from Lower Cape May coming on. And Scott, thanks for coming over here to the MudHen.
No problem.
Hold that a little closer. That microphone's not too strong. Get it as close to your mouth as you can there.
All right.
All right. And all right. So kind of a different dynamic with you this year. You have Jordan, who's one of your key returnees, but I know you're going to go young this year. And you've got a very promising freshman class coming in. So tell us about that dynamic. You have just a couple of kids with varsity experience, and now you're going to have to blend a lot of younger kids in.
Yeah, if we go back to June, I would say things were a lot different with us. We did a team camp at the Naval Academy, and we had a nice a really nice camp. It did well. Played a team from New York City, did very well against them. But since that time, we've lost 4 guys that, for no bad reason. One moved to Puerto Rico. One kid's relocated in Middle. One kid has to take care of family. We've lost 4 guys that would have been projected starters, or at least had starter minutes. But we got to move on, and you bring up our youth, the large freshman class that we had come in. I've done it before. I got a few older guys with some experience, and they got to bring those guys up. A couple of those freshmen are going to be starting and getting major minutes, and they have to not think of themselves as freshmen, but as varsity athletes now.
Jordan, your sophomore year last year, kind of a role player, and now all of a sudden as a junior with what's happened, I guess you're the big leader now, and with a lot of young guys. So how do you take on that change in role for you?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot different going from just not the main guy to being one of the top 3 players this year. I'd say I'm going to have to be more of a leader and kind of lead the way for the younger guys.
Jordan, talk a little bit about that. Offensively, as Brian and I covered games last year, we see you have the ability to shoot the ball. You have the ability to shoot the ball from beyond the arc. But in your game, as you continue to grow as well, obviously you're going to want to develop, your off the dribble shooting, to be able to go inside. So not only are you going to be, you're still in that stage where you're developing your game, but now you're going to be thrust into this leadership role, which, from just watching the way you handle yourself on the court, I think you're going to be cut out for that.
Yeah. But I'm definitely going to have to work on being more of a playmaker off the dribble to get shots for other people and continue to knock down the threes like I did last year too.
Scott, we talked to John Bruno of Ocean City about this, but how fun was last year with that conference race? 4 of you at the top, and then all of a sudden Cedar Creek became a factor at the end. It was you and Ocean City and Mainland and Holy Spirit, and then Cedar Creek played a role because they had a couple of big wins over the teams that you were battling with, and you snuck into the CAL tournament for the first time in program history. It had to be a lot of fun, especially that last month of the regular season.
Well, of the 3 conferences or divisions, whatever you want to call them, we might not have the best team playing for a CAL championship every time, but our division's incredible. Everybody's knocking off each other. Like, I believe, even going back a couple of years, even before that, we'd win against what we'd call, the Holy Spirits, the Mainlands, and Ocean Cities, but then they beat us all the next round.
Right.
And something similar happened kind of like last year. But Cedar Creek, Jordan and I were just talking about how they have a lot of people returning, and I think everyone's, that's that early start at Cedar Creek usually, unless they change that time. It's a funny ride to go up to Egg Harbor City, and now you got to play tough against them.
Yeah. What are expectations this year? You're coming off a 17-win year. You got into the tournament. Obviously you lost a transfer mid-season. That was well chronicled, well documented. But you still, all things being equal, I know you still had a pretty enjoyable season last year. Lost a tough state playoff game at home that could have gone either way. But now with this younger team, and you're going to have some freshmen playing some varsity minutes, and maybe some kids that in other programs would be playing JV. But they're going to get thrown into the fire. So what does that do as a coach for you with expectations?
It's exciting. The lean years that we had, and the last 3 years we've had winning seasons and done pretty well, gone pretty far, and I don't want to go back to those lean years. So I'm holding these guys, and Jordan, we talked about today, has to step up, be a lot more vocal. So does Tommy Galt, Damian Bensavengo, and challenge these young guys to we don't want to go backwards. If we have to go backwards, to jump forward by the end of the season, that's fine. Like, if that means a few losses to get a point across or something like that. But when we come towards the end of the season, I purposely scheduled Millville, Group 4 school, try to get us ready for states and things like that. I certainly didn't need to do that, but I want that challenge at the end of the season.
Jordan, what's it like playing basketball for Lower Cape May and in Cape May County? We talk about this all the time. You know, the other sports, you know, whether it's soccer that you play and you know, we have football obviously and baseball and lacrosse, other sports, but you know, there's something different about basketball, the way everybody follows it and the community is so involved in it, and you know, even you know, and your coach can attest to this, whether Lower has a 5-win season or a 20-win season, you get a big crowd at your games a lot. So you know, what's it like playing high school basketball at Lower Cape May and in Cape May County?
It's awesome. Like every night we have almost our entire school there in the student section. It's a lot different coming from the fall in soccer where no one goes to watch it.
Right.
To having almost the whole school there to support us.
So Scott, you mentioned some of those older kids, but we know about some of these younger kids coming out of grammar school with a high pedigree. You know, Archie Lawler and Jacob Bay, a couple of these other guys. You know, how equipped do you think they are to handle the vigors of varsity basketball?
I guess we'll find out. I keep telling them, you may be a freshman, but you're at a varsity practice. Start acting like it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Their attitude. I mean, they're asking questions. They're trying to be a sponge. It's a little overwhelming. You know, but I can't be happy. You know, I'm tickled pink about how they're doing in practice. They just got to learn on the, you know, these 4 scrimmages coming up will tell a lot.
And you know, that's one of the things to keep it positive. You know, Scott, because we've all been there in our various coaching careers where, okay, we're going to be up against it this year, but we can learn from this. Right. These are teachable moments. We can learn, you know, sometimes this brings out the best coaching in
absolutely.
us. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Trust me, in those lean years, I feel like my growth as a coach was, it was very important. I was trying different things. Just, you know, you're teaching sometimes at a middle school level just to learn how to catch a ball on the wing, you know, and keep the defense off you. Just little things like that. But and we were doing that this week. So, but they got to learn fast. And Jordan's going to be one of the captains along with the other 2, and they got to pull their weight. You know, this is what they leave behind is very important as well. So they're going to help me with that.
Okay, so Scott Holden, Jordan Pierce from Lower Cape May's boys team. We appreciate you guys coming on and you know, joining us here at the MudHen for the high school basketball preview show. And
we have Lower Cape
May's girls coming up momentarily, and we appreciate you guys coming on. So Jordan and Coach Holden, thanks for stopping by here.
Thanks, guys.
You got luck. Good luck this year.
We'll see you on the hardwood.
Yep.
And it's Christmas
about the bar on the court.
All right, so we are live at the MudHen. Brian Kniff alongside Buddy Tarbont. Let's kind of reset here. We got a couple minutes.
He just said
what?
I said, I'll see you on the hardwood?
Yes.
You hear what he said?
No, I did not.
He said, oh, you talking about the bar?
Yes.
Most bars are made out of hardwood.
That's true. All right, so we are live at the MudHen. Brian Kniff alongside Buddy Tarbont and Matt Ulmer handling our live video stream. And we're up against the break. We're going to take a break first before we bring in the Lower Cape May girls program. And we'll reset with that momentarily. But before we go to break, I do want to tell you again, this will be our 25th year of broadcasting high school boys and girls basketball games on 98.7 The Coast. We greatly look forward to that, and we will open the season with the Wildwood Catholic boys hosting or traveling to Holy Spirit for their season opener on Thursday the 19th. So we're looking forward to that game, and then we'll also have Wildwood Catholic against Notre Dame from the tip-off tournament in Ocean City, and then we'll follow up with not on the radio, but we will do a live video stream of the Wildwood girls playing the Lower Cape May girls at the Boardwalk Basketball Classic the day after Christmas. So a little bit of our early season highlights for our 98.7 The Coast broadcast schedule. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll take a break here, and then we'll come back. We'll talk with Coach Mike Pittman and a couple of the players from the Lower Cape May girls team right after this. The high school basketball preview show on 98.7 The Coast. Brewing Company in Wildwood on Rio Grande Avenue.
Did you eat my cherry?
Brian Kniff alongside Buddy Tarbotton. Buddy again shaking hands, kissing babies, and politicking while we're supposed to be doing a broadcast as usual. And right now we're joined by the Lower Cape May girls team. First of all, we want to thank everybody for coming here. We had great cooperation. Every program was represented with either a head coach or an assistant coach and some players. And we know how much of a grind it is with basketball. And so we appreciate everybody coming out on a Sunday. Certainly hope that the Eagles were off. We appreciate Matt Ulmer doing the video production for us here.
And we need Matt to get a video shot of the full dining room. because we're working on commission, right?
Yeah, I wish.
I mean, this place is packed.
Big crowd here at the MudHen for our high school basketball preview show. And first of all, welcome Mike Pittman, the head coach of the Lower Cape May girls team. And he has two of his players here, Gabby Gray and Helena Rosing. And we appreciate you guys being here. You got to hold that up pretty close there, Mike. Let me hit into that there. Now, we're not on here, so let's try to figure this out here.
And we're having a momentarily
we have a little
delay,
bit of
but I can fill it with the best of Buddy's jokes.
Well, let's go to the girls while we try to fix Coach Pittman's microphone here. So we'll start with you. First of all, Gabby, pull that real close to your mouth, as close as you can. That microphone there. There you go. All right, Helena, tell us about how practices have been going so far here in the preseason.
Practice has been going good. Everybody shows up. They're ready to play. They're ready to practice. We have a lot of new, younger girls, but I mean that means a better team it gives them a whole bunch of time to practice and learn, and makes the team better further.
Gabby, you and Helena are two of the players that have a decent amount of experience from last year. So how much of a leader do you need to be to the younger kids?
I think even during practices, me and Helena both ask the girls if they needed anything, or even we've today after practice we stayed after, and there's a couple of the girls were shooting around and I was helping out. I think being a leader on and off the court is just a really huge thing for our team.
All right, good. I think we're all set with your microphone there, Mike. And you had a 8-18 last year, but you were still rather competitive in some of those losses. Kind of assess last year's team compared to what you've seen so far this year in practice.
Well, last year we started the season with some injuries. Very rarely do we have a full team. Last year's team compared to this year, we're going to have to definitely come together as a team and play a lot of team basketball. It's not going to be individuals. It's going to need all 5 girls working together, playing together to get that team chemistry. We lost some major pieces from last year due to graduation, transfers, things like that. So it's going to take, like I said, a total team effort. All 5 girls on the same page playing together.
How much of a difference? You have obviously Gabby and Helena, and you have Lindsay Holden. I mean, these are kids that played a lot of varsity basketball last year. Have you seen a difference in them because of that so far in the preseason?
Absolutely. I mean, there are 2 of our more seasoned veterans, Helena 3 years and Gabby with 2 years varsity. Lindsay gaining very valuable experience last year as a freshman, coming back as a sophomore. That's going to be huge for our team. Team looking forward, looking at those 3, being able to go to those 3, whether it's advice on and off the court, leadership from the 3 of them. It's like I said, it's going to take a total team effort.
We are live at the MudHen Brewing Company here in Wildwood on Rio Grande Avenue for the high school basketball preview show here on 98.7 The Coast. And right now we are talking to the Lower Cape May girls program, head coach Mike Pittman, and 2 of the seniors in Gabby Gray and Helena Rosing. And Mike, where do you see your team fitting in? I mean, certainly in your conference, Mainland and Ocean City are probably a cut above, but I would imagine that you're hoping you can compete with everybody else that's in there.
So yeah, our division's pretty tough with Mainland, Ocean City. Basically, I'm looking to be competitive just like we were last year. We lost a couple tough ones. I'm hoping that if we can stay middle of the pack and just stay competitive within those, the Oakcrest games, Absagamis, Cedar Creeks, and my main goal is each day just to get better as a team. I said we have some younger girls that are newcomers and some girls that may not have as much varsity experience as some of the other teams in the league. So like I said, it's going to be day by day and just each day to look forward to get better and go from there.
Helena, this is your 3rd go-round as a varsity player.
Yeah.
So, what's different now? This is your last year. So, what's different? Do you feel different because it's the last time you're going to play basketball at Lower Cape May?
I think a lot of the other players had lots of varsity experience when I came in.
Right.
And they were a lot older. We have a very small team now. I feel like everyone I used to look up and be like, wow, they're 5'10". They're
right.
5'11". They're really tall. And I feel like we have a small. But I think we're going to be competitive. I think that everyone's willing to play, and I think that our team's going to be fine.
Gabby, I know, for whatever reason, at Lower Cape May, it always seems, whether it's the boys or the girls, the sum of the parts there always seem to be greater than, you know where I'm going. So, and I know from your team standpoint, you're probably going to need that to be successful. You know, have the sum of all the parts come together and do something. So how are you working toward that?
I really feel like just at these practices that we've had so far, a lot of us are like, we would go live in practices, and I see us like even working together. We're definitely like, you know, practice makes perfect, but like I can just see us like really like our chemistry is like really there this year. I think we're gonna have a good year.
And you know that's going to be important. The simple fact, the chemistry is going to be there. You got a group of girls. If you like to play with each other, and you're going to do the little extra things that need to be done to be successful, to try and make up maybe for some things that talent-wise might not be there. So that's a good, you know, core belief to be going into the season with.
Mike, what how do you see yourselves fitting in there? And I know, you know, with these two girls, and you know, you want them to have the best senior season possible, but you also want to build for the future as well. So, you know, how do you feel like you're set up maybe on a 2 or 3 year plan here going forward as well?
Well, like I was saying, we have some newcomers that are freshmen. Lindsay Holden being a sophomore. There's some juniors mixed in there as well that gained some varsity experience last year. Even with our younger programs in the middle school, we have some very nice girls coming up that are in 7th and 8th grade. So I think, you know, 2 or 3 year plan with these two leaders, and then with the young group now.
You have Chloe back, right?
We actually do not.
Oh, you do not? Okay.
We do not have her back. That's a huge loss for us this year. Decided not to play.
Okay.
So basically, with what we have from last year's team, you know, the learning curve for some of the girls was huge. You know, some of those girls gained some valuable, like I said, varsity experience last year that should help them go moving forward.
Okay, so the Lower Cape May girls, we really appreciate you guys coming over here. Helena Rosing and Gabby Gray, 2 of the seniors, and Coach Mike Pittman. Thanks for coming over to the MudHen, spending some of your Sunday evening with us for our high school basketball preview show, and we wish you all the luck in the world this season.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You got it. All right, you got it. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good year.
See you prior on the 26th.
We will see you on the 26th.
Let everybody know we're going to be doing a live stream, so your game will be available. Sports.
Yeah, that'll be live video stream only. Lower Cape May and Wildwood girls from the Boardwalk Classic on December 26th. It's a 12 noon game. It kicks off the tournament. So we thank the girls and coaches from Lower Cape May, and the boys from Lower Cape May as their segment is complete. Now we're ready for the Wildwood girls. They're over there just having a powwow.
Well, they were downstairs.
It's unbelievable.
They couldn't pull them away from the food.
Yeah. I mean, what's going on here?
Yeah, really.
So we'll have the Wildwood girls coming up next, and again, you know, buddy, you know, we were kidding at the top, you know, about how this is the most wonderful time of the year, and you know, everybody has their different, sports that they enjoy, and everybody has their different sports that they enjoy, and. You want me to just do this by myself?
Well, I
can do this by myself if you want me to. I mean, you got other things to do.
I want to eat with Matt.
But you know, it is a great time of year. You know, it's one of the thing I think that makes it so special is the fact that, you know, we have the type of community that we have where, you know, we have such the hustle bustle in the summer, and you have the springtime of getting ready for the summer and the fall shoulder season, and then it's like everybody gets to take their breath, and high school basketball really kind of takes over down here. And, you know, if you want to see the largest crowd at anything in the wintertime, go to a high school basketball game. I mean, that's where you see the most people.
And it's the best $2-3 you can spend. There's a senior citizen discount. That's $3.
You'll be qualified for that soon.
Yeah, it's coming up. But truly, and you're right, Brian, it's the best. You know, and you just can't beat it. The whole atmosphere, and we're lucky in Cape May County that we have 6 high schools that have both entertaining girls and boys programs. And you know what? All you got to do is pick up the paper or go to any website.
Go to cosportstoday.com.
That's right, and it's all good.
All right, so right now we have the Wildwood girls with us. And, all these years that I've covered Wildwood, I've never interviewed my wife, who's the head coach. So now this will be a first, because I have to stay away from that. You have to have some integrity. You know what I mean, bud?
Yeah.
All right, so we have Teresa Kinnis, the head coach.
You're talking about integrity? No.
We have two.
I've been working with you for 25 years.
And we have the only two seniors on the team here. And we have Gabby Keown and a transfer from Lower Cape May, Winter Favre. And so, girls, thanks for coming on with us. And let's start with another 20-win season last year, and why don't we recap the fun you had last year, and even though you didn't win it, playing a South Jersey championship game at home and winning 20 games on the season.
Hello guys, thanks for having us on. This is awesome. I can't remember the last time this went on. Do you remember when?
We haven't done one of these in a long time. We certainly didn't do it to this extent.
Especially as all six high schools from Ocean City.
I think this is a great thing. I hope you guys can continue this all for many years.
Well, I think Brendan, the owner of the MudHen, is going to be quite happy.
I think so too. It was a great crowd here. Seriously. But anyhow, going back to last year, we had such a magical season. It was amazing. And to come short 6 points in the South Jersey final, it's a heartbreaker. But you know what? I was so proud of our team and our community for coming out and supporting us. It was just amazing.
What this is one of the things that people have been talking about with your program. Going back, maybe 8 or 9 years. You go back to Jess Freeman, Leslie Reyes, Mackenzie McCracken, Maddie McCracken. This program has always had that dominant scorer for close to the past decade, and now you won't have that. But maybe you have 3 or 4 kids that can score 10 or 11 points a game. So how does that change things as you prepare for this season?
Well, it really doesn't change anything, because every one of our players, they're going to be ready to step in and help out with scoring wise. I know we have to make up the Maddie McCracken points totals, but you know what? If Imen comes up, scores 10 points a game, Winter Favre comes up, scores 10, Gabby Keown comes up, scores 10, has some key rebounds, Jenna Hans comes up, and everybody's going to be ready to be a threat and ready to score. So it's going to be an entire team effort.
And I know the girls are cognizant and aware. When you lose a player like a Maddie McCracken, then you had a couple years prior, Mac, her sister, Mackenzie. Maddie McCracken, not only is she a 2,000-point scorer, she averaged 21.4 points a game, 10.4 assists, rebounds, 10 rebounds a game, 4.5 assists, and 3.4 steals. So as a group, and I'll throw this one to you, Winter, you coming over here to Wildwood, after transferring from Lower Cape May, and the feel that you've gotten from the girls on this team and the talent, how it is, I would say, level. There's a lot of girls that can play.
Well, definitely we can't fill Maddie's shoes. That's definitely her spots. No one can fill that. So it's definitely just going to be a team effort with everyone. I think we're playing well together right now in practice, so we'll just have to wait until the season. I think it's going to be really good.
Winter, from your standpoint personally, one of the things that we've noticed with your career when you were over at Lower Cape May is that you dealt with a lot of injuries. So, how much are you looking forward to? This obviously is your last high school season, and just being healthy, and what did you try to do to try to help that, to try to, get to, have you done anything to say, hey, I got to stop getting hurt? What were you looking forward to here?
Yeah, definitely playing just everything safe, but I want to give it my all. It's my last season, so definitely just going to play every game like it's my last.
Gabby, let's bring you in here. You're the old wise one now as a senior. So and you've always been more of a role player through your career. Now you're one of the leaders, especially Winter's a new senior. You're the one that's been here. So how's your role changed? As basically the oldest player on the team.
I know I got to step up. I just got to put more effort into this year because it's my last year.
And how's practice been? It seems, just on paper and seeing what we see here, it seems like your team might be a little deeper this year.
I'm sad it's my last, but like I grew a lot with the girls. Like they're like my family, and like being at practice with them, it is fun. We do learn a lot this year. I think it's gonna be great.
And Coach, I brought over Amin Fatah. She is the floor general. I mean, she's the one out there. She does a little bit of everything. And talk a little bit about the team coming back and having a transfer like Winter, joining your squad.
And man, that question was for you. As much as Buddy butchered your name, that question was for you. He was talking to you.
Iman Fatih. Well, we've been practicing all summer long. Well, in the summer league, and we've been looking pretty well. And at practices, we've been moving the ball really well around and everything. And I think we'll be just fine this season.
Coach, let's give it back to your coach. And where do Wildwood's a little bit of an outlier down here in Cape May County because you play in the Tri-County Conference, and your conference games are against schools that, quite frankly, aren't close to here. But where do you feel? Where do you see yourselves fitting in your league? Obviously, Gloucester Catholic's a tough ask because they're such a dominant program in South Jersey. But beyond them, where do you see yourselves fitting in?
Well, Gloucester Catholic is always a tough one, but the rest of the teams we could compete with. We're going to be very defensively sound this year, and that's going to lead to a lot of points. But I think we're going to compete, and we're going to be, we're going to have a successful season this year.
Gabby, last year, and Amin, and you can even answer this as well. Having gone through a long playoff run and playing in a South Jersey final, how much does it make you want to get back there again?
It just makes us even hungrier. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
It makes us even hungrier, just like going all the way to South Jersey and then losing. So like now, it just like makes us want to work harder in practices, and we just want to get there again. So.
Gabby, what do you think?
I want to get back there again. I want to have that experience my last year. I want to put the potential. The whole team has a lot of potential to play this year.
All right, so and you guys open with Woodstown at home, I believe. So that'll be the opener, and that's on Friday the 20th, I believe. So Wildwood girls open with Woodstown on Friday the 20th, and
at home or away?
It's at home. That's so how again, when you don't have what has made practice different. Are you seeing that you have 2, 3, 4, 5 players that on a given day can get 8, 10 points? I know that's what you need to do this year.
Right, absolutely. Our players this year, they're all for each other, and they share the ball. They're running their offenses. Everybody's involved, so everybody's going to be a threat, and everybody's going to step up. So it's up to them actually playing on the court to do their best and get everybody involved.
You look like you're in a lot of your games. You might have an advantage in athleticism. You got some plus athletes here. Mm-hmm. We've talked about this with the other coaches. Your entire team is multi-sport athletes, pretty much.
Yes.
So, how do you
have a choice at Wildwood?
No, you don't have a choice at Wildwood.
Listen.
You don't have multi-sport athletes. You don't have teams.
We encourage our kids to play multiple sports because you know what? It fine-tunes their motor skills and everything else, and their muscles and everything. I think it's a big advantage for kids to play 3 sports. And you know what? These kids are tough as nails. I'll take them any day over one sport athlete.
So what are the goals this year?
Goals are to get back to the South Jersey final, win 20 games, and just go as far as we can go and be a family doing it. We're going to do a lot of community service this year out in the town, and we're going to be there.
Okay, so that's the Wildwood girls. We appreciate them coming on. Head coach Teresa Kniff, Winter Favre, Gabby Keown, Iman Fathi. A couple of the other players were here. Jenna Hans. It's actually Fatih. I know I did. I screw that up sometimes too. But I was closer than you were. She's used to it. She's used to it.
I'm going to go home and write it down. No, writing won't help.
All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take our last break here of the show, and then we'll come back and we'll finish off with the Wildwood boys right after this.
Short break.
It's been a great 2.5 hours so far, 2 hours and 45 minutes, and we'll wrap it up after this break coming up with the Wildwood boys. We appreciate the Wildwood girls for stopping by. This is the high school basketball preview show on 98.7 The Coast.
Just a few questions. I'm like,
Back live at the MudHen Brewing Company on Rio Grande Avenue in Wildwood, our high school basketball preview show. It's been such an enjoyable 2 hours and 45 minutes, and for our last segment here, we have the Wildwood boys. And again, we had every basketball program in Cape May County represented in some fashion here today, with a coach and at least one player. So we really appreciate everybody coming by. We appreciate Brendan Sciarra and all of the great staff here at the MudHen for helping us make this happen here and doing this for the kids.
And special thank you to Clyde,
Yes.
who is their events director, and she did an outstanding job.
Yeah, and of course we appreciate Norm Donahue back at the studio, pushing all the right buttons. Matt Ulmer handling the video stream on coastsportstoday.com and the Coast Sports Today Facebook page. Okay, we are now joined by the Wildwood boys team, and it is head coach Scott McCracken.
We saved the best for last.
Save the best for last.
The best for last. That's what happened, boys.
And we have a handful. We have a handful of the players here: Carl Brown, Deontay Miles, and Amarion McNeil, who are joining us here. And first of all, Scott, we have to ask you. You know, we talk about how wild and wonderful long state playoff runs can be. And even though you guys didn't win it, I don't know if there was a more extraordinary playoff run that we've seen in Cape May County in quite some time to get to a South Jersey final as a 14 seed, win 3 state playoff games on the road, and get to a final and actually have a chance to win it. And it had to be. And I know you're disappointed that you lost, but to have your kids and your coaching staff go through that experience, it really had to be something else.
It was a great experience for our coaching staff, obviously our players, and the town really was behind us. But I was proud of what the kids did. Again, proud of our program, and hopefully it's a good thing for things to come. It's something that we build on, and we can build it for the future. And,
go ahead. No, I was just going to ask Carl, because Carl, you're the one guy here that went through it. Deontay was hurt. Omarion was not part of the program last year. So, what was it like that week and a half playoff run?
Well, just knowing that we had to go in at a strong heart with not having him as our starting pointer. It's just the fact of seeing us grow as a team every practice, every time we get in the gym and work with each other, and then going that long way just to get there, and then the upset of losing. We just see that we had so much chemistry there, and we could have went so much farther if we won.
Deontay, watching that from the side, you were injured last year. It broke your wrist, right?
Yeah.
So the broken wrist and watching that and watching your teammates go through that, I know it had to be tough not being able to be out there and helping your team. So how much are you looking forward to this season and getting back on the court and being healthy?
Oh, well, I'm glad to be back, and, I'm waiting for my whole team to get our chemistry built back up, because we got Omarion McNeil now, and we got a few good players coming off the bench, so I feel like we'll be really good this year, and we'll go just as far.
Omarion joining the team here, and you're a new player coming in, and I know your coach is pretty high on the way you've been playing and in practice and everything. So, where do you see yourself fitting in? How are you going to try to help this team?
I see myself fitting in very well here at Wildwood. I think we can be like a very good team this year. We can go for a long run this year. It'll be a great season. We practice it every day, getting better. I just want to go out there and win.
Coach, talk a little bit about the team that's back this year, obviously, but you got some significant holes to fill. I mean, Tyler Tomlin has graduated, 1,000-point scorer. He averaged 19.1 points a game. Will Long averaged 14.8 points a game. So you're talking about like 34 points that you count on. One of those guys was going to step up basically every night.
Those guys had obviously a great year for us last year and helped us to get to the position that we were in. But, not having Deontay last year, Seamus Fines is back, Carl Brown, adding Omarion McNeil is certainly going to help us hopefully compete and do a good job. We think we can certainly compete in the Tri-County. We're excited about our division, playing a lot of good teams and trying to get better as the season goes along.
What tell us about some of your other guys, Scott, because one of the things that you always say as a coach of a small school program, Group 1, a lot of times it's hard to have depth, but it seems like you might be a little deeper this year. So talk about some of your other players as well.
Absolutely, Brian, and that's kind of what we thought with adding Omarion. Max McGrath did a great job for us last year. Adding Omarion gives him an opportunity to go to the 4 position. He could play the 3 or the 4. Some things change up for us. We get a little bit bigger. We're probably a little taller this year. Certainly a little more athletic than we were last year. Although we lose that scoring, but we think we can pick it up on the defensive end. Certainly rebound the basketball. And we like this year. We're going to try to play fast at times. And we have a lot of different options just because of the size and the athleticism. So really, my thoughts are that's where we can pick it up from last year and hopefully put ourselves in a good position in the Tri-County.
Well, and like Brian, just mentioned, some of those younger players that are going to step up, getting Ernie Triano healthy, and start
Ernie Triano and Dominic
Triano.
Sure.
Them coming off, obviously healthy. gives you added depth of down on your bench. And then Greg Mitchell is Greg
Mitchell is another player that could really help us.
Good athlete.
Joel's another player that's going to actually step up and help us and get significant minutes. These kids are going to be able to step in and get minutes for us. And hopefully, if we put it together like we're trying to do, where we can go 7, 8, 9, possibly 10 deep. And to be honest, Brian, as you said, I don't know if I've actually had that since I've been at Wildwood. Now, listen, we need to fill up a lot of points, but I certainly think Deontay's games got better. Seamus has got better from the outside. Max McGrath will play a little different position. He wanted to play with his back to the basket, and Amarian better rebound the basketball and score.
And another key kid.
Did you hear that?
That's coach.
And another key kid that graduated, that a lot of the things he didn't show up in the box score, but was a good team leader in the locker room and on the floor, was Andrew Zielinski. So
absolutely, Andrew is great defensively, and we're hoping. Always what happens in a season or in the course of as you're going through your preseason, you always find that one kid that actually wants to get out and get minutes. Right? Here's how you earn minutes in basketball. First of all, you got to practice hard each and every day, and you got to come and you got to want it. But if you want to defend and rebound, you got a chance to get on the floor. Really for anybody, but certainly for us. And these kids that I have here, I have some kids that can work. We have some kids that are certainly going to earn some minutes, and I'm excited about Carl. It's his senior season, and he's hopefully going to be a leader for me, be able to defend, and his athleticism certainly will show this year.
Scott, we've talked about this before, and I know you've banged your head on the wall a little bit about this, but this program, for whatever reason, seems to get off the slow starts, and then you guys will catch fire at one point, and we all saw what happened at the end of last year. He caught fire at the absolute right time. So, and I know your schedule's a little tricky in the beginning. As a matter of fact, we don't even know what part of your schedule is in the beginning because of some changes with the Boardwalk Classic, so we won't really get into that. But, how important will it be for you guys to get off to a strong start? You're playing a very good Woodstown team on the road on your opener.
Yeah, Woodstown's that's a good game. That's a tough game for us on the road. They have a really good player, and they have everybody back but one player. So that'll be a tough place to play on the road. The next day we play at the Tip-Off Classic. We play Oakcrest. So, in terms of scheduling, we have some pretty solid games, but we hope we can compete and come out with a decent record in the beginning of the season where we haven't in the past.
Scott, getting back to what you went through last year, one of the things that we've always said about Cape May County High School basketball is if there's a team out there that makes a run, the community really rallies behind it. And that had to be one of the more enjoyable aspects of what you went through last year. And I know you want to keep that going this year.
Sure, Brian. And, we've been a part, certainly your wife being a coach for Wildwood for a long time. You guys have been a part for a long time. You've got to witness this and see the fanfare, what happens when your team actually goes on a run. For me, fortunately or unfortunately, we've had a couple years where we were pretty good but never actually got that far. But last year, after we won the first game and won the second game, people were really behind us. I mean, the students knew, our players knew, the school was certainly behind us, but the community was really behind us. So it was a great thing for Cape May County. And if I told you how many coaches and players and different people from the area called to, congratulate you, saying, hey, big win, nice win, it's really a good thing, and it's kind of like the coaching community.
Well, Buddy and I, we can attest to this, and I know you guys heard about it, but the girls team had played a state playoff game that we had broadcast on the radio at home on that Saturday afternoon to get to the South Jersey final, and you guys were at Glassboro, and someone I don't know if someone went live on their phone or was just sending texts, but there were about 75 or 100 people still in the gym.
It was Max McGrath's father, live on Facebook.
Right, live on Facebook, and everybody was just riveting. It was riveting to watch everybody standing there and waiting for that result. And when the game went final, it was as loud in that gym as it was as if there was a game playing. So it was really neat. And, we wish you guys that kind of success again this year.
Brian, we always say something. I know a lot of coaches use the same lingo, right? We always say play for the name on the front of your shirt, not for the name on your back. It's something I tell these guys all the time. But Deontay could attest to this, so can Carl and Amari, and being a newcomer. But we were so proud to play for Wildwood and represent Wildwood, and that's really what's most important. Small little school that actually can get out there and play basketball. And obviously, Wildwood Catholic has been very successful, but we're hoping we can be successful. And, we play basketball down the street, too. So
and the bottom line, like Brian was talking about, that whole magic that you guys finished last season with, there were so many times, at the end of a game, we're doing the game somewhere else on the radio, following our trail, but we're all tuned in, whether it's Twitter or Facebook. Paying attention to the end of what the Wildwood boys are doing, and that's the magic, of high school basketball in our area. Like you're feeding off of that energy because that run you had. I mean, it was a magical run.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really a good time, and we appreciate everything you guys do. But I will say this about the coaches in the community and the different schools: it's really a good thing down here. Basketball is unbelievable in South Jersey. I'm fortunate to be part of it. I'm fortunate to be coaching these kids, and love doing it. And then when I see all these coaches and everything that you guys put together to do this, it's really a great thing, and it really screams about the community here.
Well, and
good work by you guys.
Yeah. Before I continue to keep cutting Brian off, but Scott, I agree with you. And for us to be able to do this for 25 years, it's very humbling when we see this turnout because we put this thing together for the kids, and to see the amount of coaches, family, players that showed up, and this is about you guys. We're here for you. We want you guys to go out. We want you to have fun. Enjoy your senior year. You are junior, right? Yes. Enjoy and just put your best foot forward. And like Coach said, be proud of that name that's on that jersey on your chest.
These guys always know it's a special day when they see the radio station popping in, and we hope we can get a win and one of these guys can get interviewed. Deontay's been fortunate enough to see that, his brother certainly, and Carl. So we know it's a big thing when you guys show up, and we're always excited to play.
All right, Scott, we appreciate it. And you guys, thanks for coming on. We're up against it here. Carl Brown, Deontay Miles, and Marion McNeil from the Wildwood boys team, head coach Scott McCracken, and we wish you guys the best of luck as they start their season against Woodstown on December 20th. You can go to Tri-County Conference NJ.org to get Wildwood's scrimmage schedule. They'll have a couple of scrimmages coming up starting this week. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
You got it. So that'll about do it for us here at the MudHen, and it's been a lot of fun. We appreciate Matt Ulmer for handling the video aspect. Coast Sports Today Facebook page, coastsportstoday.com. Norm Donahue back at the studio pushing all the right buttons.
Yeah, great job today, Norm.
All of our fantastic sponsors here on 98.7 The Coast, and we especially thank Brendan Scare and all the people here at the MudHen. Yeah. This was really great. We really enjoyed it. We hope the kids did, and we hope everybody who watched and listened did so as well. And, buddy, it's all starting soon, December 19th, Wildwood Catholic and Holy Spirit, and we'll have 20-some games this year on the air on 98.7 The Coast for our 25th year.
And we certainly hit the ground running, because once we go, that's a Thursday night game. Then Saturday night we're going to be in Ocean City with Tom Williams Tip-Off Classic, which is always a great event.
Yep.
Always great matchups. So we want to make sure, and again, check that out.
Yeah, we'll have the
Prime Events at primeevent.net.
And we'll have our radio broadcast schedule up on coastsportstoday.com early this week, so you'll be able to check out what games we will.
And there's the future superstar, Macy McCracken. We'll be talking about her soon, Brian.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. All right, so again, thanks to all the great people here at the MudHen, for Matt Ulmer and Ulmer's Appliance for sponsoring our live video stream, for Norm Donahue back at the studio, for my partner, Buddy Tarbot, and I'm Brian Kniff. This has been the High School Basketball Preview Show on coastsportstoday.com, Coast Sports Today Facebook, and 98.7 The Coast.